Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a really exciting one. This is a battle beers between the old New Belgium Fat Tire and the updated recipe. If you guys don't already know, they've updated the recipe on Fat Tire, making it a little bit new, a little bit lighter, a little bit different. So really curious to check this one out. This might be the last time this video is even possibly done anymore, because this beer doesn't exist anymore. I was able to go to Total Wine, and they have a little bit of a graveyard kind of section where you can find some older beers. So this is actually not quite fresh. This is pretty much on the date to the Enjoy By. This one, on the other hand, is Enjoy By 4 months away. So it's a pretty fresh product, right? And let's do battle beers. So they've updated the recipes. They've updated the branding too, because if you see here on the cap for the old Fat Tire, they were advertising New Belgium with the bicycle and all. Now here they're advertising Fat Tire, because I think they're pushing at it, because a lot of people don't know. New Belgium makes Fat Tire. It's not just Fat Tire, but I think the perception of the beer can be just, it's called Fat Tire, so it's just Fat Tire. Same thing with like Sam Adams Boston Lager, right? A lot of people just associate Sam Adams being Sam Adams Brewery, but it's really Boston Beer Company, right? So I've got these two beers poured out, and obviously you can already see the difference on the color between these two is quite significant. They got the same bottle, which is quite nice. That old New Belgium bottle with the I guess embossed. I don't know what the word is, but like the New Belgium's on it with the ridge and everything. So they got the same bottle going on, but the recipe is obviously different. I mean, you could clearly tell these are two very different beers. Don't have the ideal glass here, obviously a little bit dirty, but let's get rid of that. Yeah, I mean, hell, I want to say I reviewed this about 3 years ago, this beer. Maybe they changed the recipe. No, sounds about right. But the beer is not quite amber. They call it amber ale, but like it's really light amber at best. Here, we definitely have a beer that's at best, what is that, medium gold, not even like deep gold, medium gold color, right? So let's dig into that. The aroma. So I just watched my review of it. This beer, always for me, at least when I reviewed it, and still now, it smells like a British pub ale, right? It has this green apple they call fennel, like multi characteristics to it. Yeah, it's just like, it smells British. Like I just think of like a Fuller's ESB or something, or Fuller's, yeah. So, oh wow, that is completely different. So we're going here like, here we're going like straw, hay, none of that kind of like. Here we get a little bit like fruitiness, biscuit, rich yeast characteristics. Here, this is all like, what's supposed to be beer I'm thinking about? It has a lot of like, there's a compound that makes this kind of like tortilla chip kind of a note, like very pale. I don't know, Tostitos. Like, it smells like Tostitos. It smells just of like the lightest grainy malt. Completely different aromatics. So let's try it out. Yep, just like what I expected. 5.2%. Like a little bit of toasted burning malt character, a lot of expressive yeast characters. It's fruity, red apple, a little bit of like, yeah, toasted, light kind of biscuity tone there. I mean, full blind, I would easily have guessed that this was just a not very bitter British pub ale. All right, it's not quite there with bitter, because it doesn't really have the hot bitterness that like a best bitter or a special bitter would have, but yeah, a lot of expressive yeast characteristics, a lot of red fruit, palm fruit, nice kind of malt characteristic. Closest thing I can think of is something like Blue Point Toasted Lager, just like, you know, a little bit of fruity yeast character, a little bit of malt, just really good pub beer. Let's try this one out. So they didn't grade this down. Like, they didn't go like, here, let's like do a mid step. Like, they made a completely different beer and called it Fat Tire. You could almost even call it Flat Tire. It's the flavor is just not there compared to this beer. What does this taste like? This tastes like a very bland kind of blonde ale. Doesn't have the yeast characteristics. It's got a lot of that kind of like expressive, pale, pilsnery kind of malt. It just sings for days of tortilla chips, like tortilla chips for days. I think what is it called, isobutyraldehyde. This is a blonde ale. There's almost no hops to speak of. Um, Maybe a little bit of a light, kind of like cherry in there. Has a lot of lager characteristics. It's really stripped of yeast character. Um, Honestly, this tastes a lot like the beer that we sell at Sanford Brewing. We have a beer called Drinking Beer. It's just a malty blonde ale, I call it, or light blonde ale, I call it to people. That's what this tastes like. This beer is lighter than that beer. The closest thing I can maybe, even like Kona Big Way is hoppier than this, so it's like, it's almost like a German Helles, but not as clean, because that's a lager fermentation. This is a little bit of ale to it. This is an ale, so it has a little bit of ale fermentation to it. But this is somewhere in between American Blonde Ale and German Helles. It's so pale, it's stripped of all the amber characteristics. Like here, you get the malt and the yeast, and here it's just light malt for days. What do I think about it? I mean, it makes sense. Um, it sucks, I think, for the fat tire drinkers. You know what this is? It's in line with what they call it, the Boulevard wheat that crushes on draft, because again, it's a craft beer that can sort of trick a macro drinker into drinking craft. The same goes for Spotted Cow, a beer that, like, again, you review it, or I've reviewed it, and like, you put your blindfold on, you're like, oh yeah, I'm drinking a macro-ish kind of beer, right? Like, this is exactly that. They've stripped all the character away. If you really want to think about it a little bit more, you can maybe get a little bit of the ale fermentation on it, but there's no bitterness. You definitely get full malt, so there's no adjunct to it, like a macro lager, but this is macro adjacent. And the brands that crush, right? I've never had Firestone Walker 805. I bet that beer is macro adjacent, because it just, it crushes in the market. It tastes like macro, but is craft. Sort of goes like same Spotted Cow, Boulevard Wheat, Kona Big Wave, right? These are all sort of like craft. Well, a lot of those are sold out, so like they're craftish beers, but they sort of do exactly what a macro drinker wants. This I can definitely sell to a macro drinker, and that's what I do at work with our beer called Drinking Beer. It's our bestseller, and that's what people want. They just want a kind of like macro tasting, um, lightly malty beer. No hops, nothing get in the way. It just tastes like malt. And yeah, if you don't think about it, you would just say like, oh yeah. If you told somebody, like, if you handed somebody this glass and told them that they were drinking Bud Heavy or Miller High Life, like, they'd be like, yeah, cool, sure, whatever. Like, they just wouldn't think about it. That's what this beer does. Here, this tastes like a British ale. For me, I still hold by that opinion. This tastes like a British pub ale. If you told me this was like a British take on 5% pub ale, I'd be like, all right, perfect, cool. Not too hoppy, rich yeast characteristic to it, a little bit of a color, a little bit of malt. So really pulled these beers like so far apart. Like, the distance between the flavor of these two beers is vastly different. So again, I might be the last person available to ever do this kind of like battle beers. Very fun. I guess you guys are asking what are the ratings for these guys. So last time I gave this beer an 83. I think it's a little bit better than that. I'm going with 84 this time. This beer is very bland. No off flavors, just very, very bland, well executed. I'd much rather be in Germany. How about that? I'd much rather be finding a beer produced out of Germany, or German inspired, German lager. I'd much rather have more character and have German lager fermentation. Again, it doesn't have to specifically be from Germany, but I'm talking about styles like German Helles, German Pils, Kolsch, stuff like that. And this is really like American Blonde Ale, super blend, light, and even like something like Kona Big Wave, again, hoppier, so like not even that hoppy at all. Quite fresh. I really don't get much character. It's just very lightly malty. This is very close to American macro lager for an ale, a crafty ale. So tastes fine, no off flavors. 85 here, 81 here. There you go. That's my rating. let's go solid 80. Let's go solid 80. 80 it is. I just think this has so much more character. I need to give it more points. Like the world between these is just so different. So 5 points is fair. Neither are my favorite beers, but this one just has so much more flavor to it. So until next time, guys, cheers. Let me know what you think. Very cool stuff. I was very happy. I was really happy to find these on the shelf, comparing old and new. What a world we live in. Fat Tire is now gone. It's now this. Cheers. Let me know what you think. Later. I just realized, guys, you guys are still with me, right? Hot take. I used to do this in my videos. Why not? You do cuvee of the two. No, that's not bad. That's not bad. I wish they did that. See, I really wish they did that instead. I really wish they pulled down some of the like the malt and the yeast characteristic that makes it so. Again, I think of this beer as just so British, at least in its flavor profile. Obviously, they didn't mean to make a British beer, but like it tastes so British in the flavor profile. That's nice. I like this. See, now that is not as characterful, but it's almost like a really bland, like Brooklyn Lager, really bland, or you mean like a bland Sam Adams, right? That I can go for. If they want to blend the beer out, I wish they made it like I wish they went halfway, but they went really pale on this guy, and that really like knocked out all the character on this beer. So that's a fun one. That would have been better if they did something like that, but they didn't. So cheers, later.